Hi, I'm Jeet from Espressotec Sales and Service. Today is going to be a video featuring Baratza's new home grinder. It's the replacement for the Maestro Plus, and it's called the Baratza Encore. It's a good little home grinder, very competitively priced. It's got good value for its money, and it's got a good wide grind range. A lot of things are very similar with the rest of the Baratza lineup. It's very easy to take apart and clean, recalibrate. Parts are easily available. Some of the features that you'll see compared to the Maestro Plus is the fact that it has a new gearbox and it has a new drive shaft, new stronger gear, and that basically all works to give the user a quieter machine. And also, for example, if a rock or a washer gets stuck into your burrs, there's less of a chance for the gear to actually strip in comparison to before. Furthermore, there's new 40mm hardened steel conical burrs on the grinder itself. So overall, you're going to get a much finer grind and a much wider grind range with the unit. So I'll be able to do drip to espresso, and I'll do a proper espresso actually. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over the overview and run a few grind settings to kind of give you a basic introduction to the new Encore grinder. So here we have the Encore grinder. Quite resembles the Maestro Plus. On the side though, you'll notice that it's been changed from the timer. They've switched it to just an on-off switch. So you can rotate it either way, but this is just going to keep the grinder running completely on. So just word of advice though, if you're going to be using this switch, be careful. You're not supposed to be really running these grinders for longer than a minute. Rule of thumb is just a grinding for a minute and then 2 minutes to let it cool down before you grind again. And on the front here, you do have the grind on demand button that grinds for as long as you have this button depressed. On the top you have your bean hopper, and also on the bottom you have your grounds bin, and this grounds bin can be swapped out. If you do purchase the porta-holder accessory, you can use it and it will fit perfectly fine here. That way you can dose coffee right into your portafilter handle. Now, as to take it apart and clean, it's just as simple. Actually, it's identical to the Maestro Plus and the Virtuoso. All you do is you rotate the bean hopper to the coarsest setting, which would be 40. Once it's there, you just simply lift up. Now, the next thing in line that you'll see is going to be the dust shield, and this kind of prevents the chafe and any small bits of coffee from plugging up and filling your grinder. So you just simply lift that out. And then next comes the upper burrs. Now if your grinder is very clean or it's brand new, it's a simple thing of pulling it out. But if it's old or you've ground a lot of coffee through it, it could be quite hard, and you just don't want to brief and yank it out because you can damage the grinder. So a tip is to hold the outer black ring with one finger while lifting the upper burr out. And that way you reduce the chances of ever damaging your machine. So once you do that, you pretty much have full access to give it a good clean with a nice brush, or if you have an air can, to blast it out. Now for reassembly, Baratza's done a few little things to make sure you reassemble it properly. So as for the upper burr, there's a little red mark on one of the ears, and that red mark kind of lines up with the 5 o'clock position. And you can see it's a little hard from the video, but there's a little notch in the top adjustment ring, and that's what you want to align it to. And if you do so, it'll just plop right into place. Now with that in, you just put the dust shield back on, and it's notched. It has little notches on both sides to fit over the ears, so you can't mess that one up either. Now once you have that dust shield back in, to put the bean hopper in, again, they've put keys on it. So on one side there is a larger key, and on the other side there's the skinnier key, and the skinnier key goes towards the on-off switch. Again, if you forget, it won't go in any other way. It won't at all until you put it properly and it locks in. Now you're back in business. So as I said, the Encore is a great grinder for home use, good value for your money. It does a good espresso grind along with a drip coffee grind. So I'm going to demo that for you right now with a little bit of coffee. So Baratza does say that the new gear housing is supposed to make it a bit quieter, but personally I don't really find too much of a noise difference between this one and the Maestro Plus. But the grind consistency, you'll notice that the grind fineness is much better because of those new burrs and the new drive shaft. So we'll get a bit of grind. So this is at the 30 setting. It's quite coarse. Get a little bit more coffee out here. It's quite coarse. You can see lots of granules in it. You can pretty much count every single little bit of coffee. So it's not the greatest at the coarsest setting, but for a grinder in its price range, it does a really good job, I'd say. So I'm going to just toss that out of the way and work our way down to, and then we'll do more of an espresso grind setting. Again, when you're changing the grind setting, you don't want to just rotate the hopper. You could damage the grinder because of the fact that beans are between the burrs, and that just puts excess stress. So when you're changing the grind setting and the hopper's full, you want to make sure to have it grinding at the same time. So I'm just going to grind a bit of it away. And now we have the new espresso grind setting. And again, I've been using this pulse, the grind on demand feature, but you can simply rotate the switch. Let's take a look here at the espresso setting. Again, if I was going to be using this for an espresso machine, I'd do it a bit finer than this, not clumping so much. But fairly consistent, no chunks at all. Does a fairly good grind setting, and I think at this setting should be perfect for pressurized portafilter handles. But again, for machines like the Gazers, the Sylvias, you want to be grinding it a bit finer because you do want that clumping. So let's just see how good it can go. So we're down to about a 5. Again, these grinders can be recalibrated, so you don't have to worry too much. If you're always doing espresso, you can increase that range by just recalibrating your grinder. But down at the 5 setting, you see that it's very clumpy, which would be more than enough for most general home espresso machines. So that's the little video overview on the brand new Baratza Encore grinder. Showed you a bit of its grinding range from drip all the way down to a nice fine espresso, and how to operate it, and the overviews on how to clean it. So thanks for checking into our video. Please subscribe, so that way you can be the first ones to view our brand new videos.